What's up, friends? Welcome to the Weeknights with Chaos. Just a fun little short, about 30-minute-ish live streams that I like to kind of do on maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays if available. So what's happening? We'll get right into it since these are shorter live streams. Let's dive into it. Thanks, Andrew Jackson. What does he got? Jonathan, Queasy, Johnny Bravo, Peter Griffin, Abraham, CIA2, Joshua, T-Dog in the house, Chris Smith, Bill Black, Eugene, Crocodile Keys Productions, and Anakin Skywalker. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining the notification platoon and getting right to it and getting right in here with me. So if you have a question, leave it in the chat. I only got 30 minutes, so we'll try to make the best out of it and see how things go. We got, hello, I'm a fan of your work. What do you think about the whole dumb Area 51 raid? Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. We'll see if it really happens. Hopefully people come to their senses because there's someone asked me about this in a comment on a video too, and I said in there that they have posted usually at military installations that deadly force is authorized. So you're gonna get shot and killed if you try to bum rush a gate at a military facility. Doesn't matter if it's Area 51 or Fort Riley or an Air Force base, a Navy base, it does not matter. It's a military installation, and if you rush the gate and you are not stopping, they are allowed to shoot you. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb, but we'll see if it really actually goes down. You got people talking about the Area 51 raid? Yeah, no. How's it going, Eugene? How are you? Feel like I'm loading up a Call of Duty match. What, at the beginning? It's got a good little intro to the little show. Took the ASVAB. I'm not passed. I got a 29. Well, all you can do is keep studying, try again, get better at it, do some practice tests. They have some practice tests online, so you just got to work on the practice tests, and eventually, hopefully get it down. That intro is awesome. Well, thanks. I like it too. It's the fun little weekdays intro. A little bit different than the weekend ones. I'll leave for basics September 9th, 19 kilo. Your video has really helped me. I'm in Army research. Sucks how I couldn't see you at Fort Carson when me and my sergeants and other recruits were there for a tour. Yeah, that's a bummer. Sorry. If there was something maybe planned, you guys should have planned it with me. I mean, I would have came and joined if that was something somebody wanted to do, or maybe a recruiter was like, yeah, I got some people here that say they watch this weird ThatChrisChaos guy on YouTube apparently, and they want to come say hi. I would have done something. Just gotta plan it out. Hit me up on Instagram. That's always the best way. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because maybe you might not be into the photos I post. I post some good stuff though, but you can always hit me up on there, and I'm pretty good at responding to people. So far, I have pretty much 100% response rate. If you hit me up on Instagram for now. If it starts getting crazy at one point in time, then it might be a little more difficult. Is it possible to do airborne or rangers during AIT? It wouldn't be possible during AIT because it's a separate school. So you can't do it at the same time. It has to be either before or after, one or the other. You can't do it during AIT because it's a separate school altogether. So it doesn't happen. Can't be in two places at once. Would you have ever considered becoming an officer in the Army? Probably not. I probably wouldn't be interested in really being an officer. I mean, maybe, but also mainly because I was not really interested in wanting to be like a long-term military person. I just had an intent to be in for a while and then get out and move on. So that's also probably why. What's up, Joey? Hey, Chris, how's it going? Hope everything is all right. Everything's all right. Everything's all right, Joe. 1 week till I ship, and I'm ready for it. Well, good luck to you, gamer. How many channel mods do you have? 5, maybe 4. I'm not too sure. Not a whole lot. I'm very sparing with that, so I don't just give it out to anybody. So there was some people early on in the channel when it was picking up steam that I just kind of gave it to, and they haven't abused it or anything, so they got to keep it and everything. But now the channel's gotten a little bit bigger. That's a little bit more of a sparing thing that I don't just give out to anyone. Oops, lost track where I was at on the chat. How do you prepare for a deployment? I'm going on one soon. and I have no idea what to expect. Thank you. So I would say, you get some, like, I'm assuming possibly a non-combat deployment. I mean, if you are a combat deployment, I guess still it doesn't really matter. Make sure that you have some good entertainment for those times when you do have some off time, like a laptop or something. Maybe stock up on your hard drive. Put a bunch of movies on there if you can. Have stuff that you can watch offline, especially if it's a non-combat deployment. You probably have a chance to get internet, so that makes it a lot better. Pack up some of your favorite snacks. Give out your address when you get it to friends and family so they can send you snacks and little care packages. But otherwise, then there's, of course, the obvious stuff of making sure that you have someone that you trust to be able to take care of finances if you can't do so. So maybe like a family, relative, spouse if you have one or whatever, or a really, really close friend that you're really close with, and make sure that if there's a situation where you have a problem with your bank account or something like that, maybe you have a special power of attorney to be able to delegate just certain things of what they can and can't do with your bank account or whatever, and be able to have someone back in the States to be able to fix things when you don't have access to be able to do that is always key. Hey, I spoke to the Chief of Staff of the Army, and he said we all could get the rank of Lieutenant Colonel since we watch your channel. Well, that's good. That was really nice of that individual. That's a good hookup. If I bring my immunization list, will I still have to get them? Maybe. I don't know for sure on that. Hey, if you go through OCS and don't earn your butter bar, what are you called? Like an enlisted is a private? Well, a private is an enlisted soldier, but if you don't get selected through OCS, you fail OCS, then you're probably just kicked out. I mean, that's pretty hard thing. I don't think you get to, if you fail OCS, it's like failing basic training. You don't just get to move down a level, I don't believe. So I think if you fail OCS, you're just out, and you try again another time if you're eligible, kind of a thing. Chris, you can be our sergeant in our raid. Yeah, no thanks. Soldiers still carry sidearms in combat. Only select people, usually like tankers do, higher enlisted and officers do, but usually they'll also have like an M4 as well that'll additionally have a sidearm. So that kind of can vary. I've been told if you have OSIT after basic training, well, you wouldn't have that. OSIT after basic training, you wouldn't have basic graduation ceremony. Is that true? Will you only have OSIT ceremony? So you don't have, that wouldn't make sense. So you have basic training, which is for a lot of MOSs. And then you have OSIT, which is one station unit training. Those are for a lot of combat MOSs, like you have 11 Bravo, 11 Charlie, your MPs, your engineers, I believe, do that. Your 19 Deltas, they do OSIT. So all OSIT is basic training and AIT all combined. So they will do everything all together. You're going to be doing those basic skills. They're also going to be doing their job skills and everything. And at the very end of that, however long OSIT is, there's usually a graduation ceremony. If you're doing basic training, then that is the normal 10 weeks of basic training. You're doing all the basic stuff, weapons qualification, physical fitness, road marches, little field exercise thing. At the end of the 10 weeks, there's a little graduation ceremony. And then everybody moves on to their AIT for whatever their MOS is, and then however long your AIT is, you go to that. So those are two different things. Basic training, OSIT, two different things. Some people go to OSIT, some people go to basic training. Is 91 kilo cool MOS? I don't know. I don't know what 91 kilo is. 91 kilo MOS is armament repairer? I have no idea. I don't know anything about that MOS. Sorry. Can't be of help. By the way, make sure you slap a like on the live stream if you're enjoying the live stream thus far. A very short one. Remember, it's only 30 minutes total. We're 10 minutes in, so we still got 20 minutes. We're only at 8 likes right now. It's 26 of you, so I'm not saying you have to, but if you're enjoying the live stream thus far, like the channel, hit the thumbs up. Random question: can you bring an acoustic guitar on deployments? Yeah, I have. Let's see, my first deployment. It was a combat deployment, so it's even more stricter than a regular, just a non-combat deployment. But my first deployment, I bought one in one of the local shops. It was on base, though, not like in Iraq, but one of the local shops on base. And then my second deployment, I bought a guitar and had it shipped out with all my stuff in a Connex. So yes, you can. You usually have to like a lot of times usually units will have like a foot locker of stuff you're allowed to bring. Certain items you're not allowed to bring, of course, and stuff, but usually have some kind of like a foot locker that you usually pack up, and you can have put in a Connex, and then that Connex goes out to the deployment for what you're going to do in most cases. I don't know if it still works that way with non-combat deployments. I don't know, but I would imagine possibly. When I was in the Army, they wanted you to go to PLDC, Primary Leadership Development course, to become NCO. Is it still the same with today's Army? Thanks for your service. It is. So PLDC is actually Professional Leadership Development course. That was the old one. From there, it switched to the Warrior Leader course, the WLC. And then from there, that one didn't last really long, only a couple years, I think. Maybe a few years, 4 years, 3 years, I don't remember. And then they switched to BLC, the Basic Leaders course. So yes, they still have those ones. And then you have what used to be BNOC is now ALC, which is Advanced Leaders course, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, they still have those schools you have to go through to make the next rank in the non-commissioned officers. Were you physically active before going to basic training? Not too much. I wasn't really in bad shape because I was pretty skinny. I was fairly active, not really in the sense of like working out or running all the time or anything, just your basic running around town. Me and my friends rode bikes, we rollerbladed, so just in that sense. So I wasn't in bad shape, but I wasn't in great shape either. It probably would have made it a little bit easier if I would have been in better shape than I was in, but I wasn't in necessarily bad shape. Is it possible to get RASP even after you've enlisted without an option 40? Yeah, I mean, you can always go to your first unit and then try to request it through there and try to go to RASP if you want to. So you can still do that. Rodrigo with a super chat. Thank you very much for the donation. As firefighter, will I see combat? Probably not. If you're lucky enough, that's actually a very difficult MOS to get because there's so few slots to be able to fall in on. So most of the time, if you are on a deployment as a firefighter, you're doing stuff on base for the most part. If there's something catches on fire, you're also doing a little first aid because usually have some first aid stuff. So if someone needs to help with some first aid stuff, you're doing that. You're working with some civilians a little bit. There might be a little bit of stuff outside of the gate you could possibly respond to if need be, but no, I would say it's probably not much of a chance that you would see any kind of combat as a firefighter. It's mostly going to be responding to stuff on base. So there you go. Thanks for the super chat, Rodrigo. When doing OSIT 11 Bravo at Benning, can I have phone or laptop after the basic part, or is it going to be miserable the whole time? Laptop, I'm going to say no, most likely. I don't know 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to say probably no on that one. The phone is probably going to be the same kind of thing with like a lot of basic trains and other OSITs where the drill sergeants don't have to allow you to have phone time, but they might or will probably, depending on just, I guess, how you guys are doing and a lot of other things. So you'll have it locked up, though. You won't be able to just have it and be able to sneak it or anything like that. I mean, you could sneak it, I guess, but if you get caught with it, you'd be screwed. But they'll probably have them all locked up, and then there'll be designated times that they may give you to be able to use their phones. They don't have to give you any time to use those phones, but it'll be up to them as far as how often that is that they might allow you to utilize your cell phones. Always enjoyed live streams. Well, thanks, George. How many MOSs are there in the Army? Hundreds. I think there's like 130 something or 140. There's a lot. It's in the hundreds. It's 100 and something. I don't think it's as high as 200, but I think it's 100 and something. How would the Army figure out if someone accidentally blew a base up by messing around with a nuclear bomb? Well, I'm pretty sure they keep track of nuclear bombs, so they're gonna know that you have it. I don't know, a lot of things, I would imagine. My nephew is going to Italy after basic. What would he be doing over there? Also, he signed up for Airborne. When would he get his training? Thank you. So going to Italy, I don't know. I mean, it's just like an overseas deployment. So, or not deployment, but overseas duty station, which is actually kind of a hard one to get for Italy. I hear it's awesome to get, but a very difficult one to get. It just depends on their MOS. Their MOS will just be doing some basic operations around that area, around the installation that's there. And then as far as airborne, usually that comes after basics. So they'll do basic training, go to airborne school, and then off to AIT. If he was doing a combat MOS and he has OSIT, then he'll do OSIT, and then after OSIT, go to airborne, and then off to his unit. So somewhere along those lines is how it'll end up kind of going. Planning to be an officer in the Army. Any tips? Just pay attention. Be the cool officer. Don't be cocky. Don't be all strict and everything, because people hate that. And it looks like we have a fairly slow connection, so I apologize if it's lagging. I don't know if it was lagging there for a second. It looked like it was lagging on my screen and saying that I have low output. Sorry if it's laggy. But yeah, just, try your best to be the cool. I mean, obviously have some leadership and don't get, best buddies with the enlisted soldiers, but also don't be the really cocky one that thinks he knows everything. Those ones suck. Can you play games in the Army? What do you mean? Like video games? Sure. You talking about sports? They have some sports programs. You talking about board games? Why not? Hey, Chaos asked a question on with Quora. It'll be great if you can search it up real quick and read a short title Google Doc. I linked on my experience at MEPS. Feel free to read it out loud. I don't know if we have time for that. This is a short 30-minute live stream. I don't think I have time to research and look up your Google Doc and go through that. Sorry. These are the shorter ones. Do you have an esport team in the Army for gaming? What was it? There was something I remember reading about where they were going to do something like that, where they were going to have like an Army Call of Duty team or something like that, do some stuff where they kind of are sponsored by the Army and they're gamers, and they wear like, t-shirts that have U.S. Army on them, and they're playing games like that in these competitions, kind of as a recruitment, just to get people hopefully interested in the Army. I want to say there was something. I don't remember all the details on it, but I thought I remember reading something about that, where the Army was going to be doing something like that, where it was cool. The 420th Brigade, 69th Unit is the first to storm Area 51. Oh, okay. What non-combat job are you most likely to see combat with? Non-combat job that you're most likely to see combat with? Possibly my MOS that I was 88 Mike, and because you're on the, even though it's just transportation, driving trucks, but because you're on the road so much, you have, possibility of ambushes and roadside bombs. There's times when because mechanics a lot of times go with, these convoys. That way, in case something breaks down, they have someone there on site to be able to fix it. And that same kind of situation, because they're on the road so much, they can be ambushed or roadside bombs. I don't know what else could be some other possibilities. So my question was, can bad behavior during high school disqualify me from joining the Army? Only if that bad behavior resulted in a criminal record. If it was just something like you got suspended, you got expelled, you got extra, you got detention, crap like that, no. But if it was something that resulted in you having a criminal record, then yes. Do they pick on when you go to basic, or do you pick? No, they pick it based on basically the time frame you're looking at going, as far as what locations are going to be starting basic training around that time, what locations have slots still available. Sometimes they like to try to arrange it where if your AIT is going to be at that location, then they'll send you to basic training there. That way they can save money on flights to not have to send you to those locations, and all that kind of stuff. All right, we have 10 minutes left in the live stream. We're currently at 25 likes. If we get to 50 likes before that 10 minutes is up, we'll extend it to another hour. Make that deal with you guys. All right, so we got 10 minutes to get the live stream to 50 likes, and we'll extend it to 1 hour. Otherwise, we got 10 minutes left. Can you talk about Fort Irwin, California? I have a video on that. I don't know it as a duty station. I've only been to Fort Irwin for the National Training Center, and so that's a much different experience than being stationed there, because you're there for a specific reason of doing training, whereas individual being stationed there, they're there to do a job. Sure, it is kind of a pain because you're rotating in and out of the training environment to assist with that type of training. So that kind of gets annoying to some people. I always wanted Fort Ord Irwin because it was only like 2 hours away from my hometown, and I always thought it would have been kind of cool. But when I tried to re-enlist for it one time, they didn't have any available slots for me, so I couldn't get it. So I ended up going to Fort Carson, which ended up still being pretty good. America's Army Proving Grounds, I think they have a team for the game or something. Yeah, that's a possibility. I remember I played that game when it first came out, and I was in Korea when that game first came out. It wasn't called Proving Grounds, though. It was just America's Army, and that game was cool. Me and my friends in the barracks in Korea used to play that, and it was fun. I've tried it recently, maybe like a year or so ago, but I'm not very good at online games. Are there any water-based jobs in the Army? Yeah, there's water purification. I think I did an MOS Monday on water purification. But yeah, there's an MOS specifically to purify water, and then if you're talking about like being out on water, what is it, 88 November or 88? I forget. It's an 88 series MOS that works with watercrafts, and I did a MOS Monday on that as well. So if you look at the MOS Monday playlist, you might find it in there. 92 Golf, where do you think duty station will be? Probably anywheres. I don't even know what a 92 Golf is. Let's see, 92 Golf. 92 Golf MOS. A culinary specialist? Yeah, anywheres. You could be anywheres because everywhere has DFACs. So you could be pretty much stationed anywhere because everywhere is going to have a DFAC that you need to cook in. I just wanted to say hello, but I cannot stay. Well, thanks, Albert Glass. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, Chris, if a recruit fails basic training or is booted out for medical reasons, can they still be covered by the VA? No. Unless there's some things that could happen if they got like medically kicked out because of something the Army did or something, like that. But if it was just a simple injury because you got hurt during training, then probably not. And then if you got kicked out, then definitely no, because it's gonna be a general discharge, which doesn't allow you. Plus, typically to even qualify for veteran benefits, you usually have to be in the Army for 30 plus days or something like that. No, it's more than that. I don't remember how many days it is. So, but if you got kicked out of basic training because you failed it or an injury, no, you're gonna just get a general discharge. They're gonna tell you if you can recover from it, you can try again and come back in the Army, but you're most likely not going to qualify for VA unless it was something that maybe like the Army screwed something up and you got hurt because of that. Do you know what kind of extra opportunities there are if you know a foreign language? If you are fluent enough in the language, you can get extra pay. There's extra pay that you can get. You take a little test, and if that your test results are good enough in the reading, writing, and speaking of that language, you can qualify for language pay. Was Jessica Lynch an 88 Mike? I believe so, yeah. I believe so. Hey Chris, if you could persuade the Army to teach a martial art fully at basic or later, which one would you pick? Thank you. Well, I like currently how they do combatives. Combatives is basically Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I think that's pretty great. They do some real basic portion of it in basic training, and then you can elect to do more training after you get out and do like level 1 combatives, level 2 combatives, whatever you want to do, as high as you want to go up to level 4. But I think Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is great. I think it's pretty cool. If I was a mechanic in the military, where would I be stationed at? Anywhere. So they have vehicles. There's only a few MOSs that have like select locations. Like I'm trying to think. Most MOSs have the possibility of going almost anywhere. It's just going to be a matter of how many slots are there and how easy it is to get that location, because you're going to have places like Fort Huachuca, small base, mostly intel, that is going to be hard for certain MOSs to get into because they just don't have the room for it. They just don't have the assets to do anything with those MOSs, so there's very few MOSs at that location for like certain ones. So really, most MOSs can go really anywhere. It's just a matter of how easy it is to get there. What is a job that you can do combat in? There's a lot of 11 Bravo, 11 Charlie, Special Forces. Are there any fixed-wing Army aircrafts? I believe so. I don't remember what kind, though, but I do believe that there is. 5 more minutes, guys. We have 5 more minutes left in the live stream. I've currently seen 48 likes. If we get to 50, I'll extend it to another 30 minutes. Do you know anything about 91 Mike? I don't. 91 Mike. Let's see. Probably not one that I know about, though. 91 Mike is a Bradley fighting vehicle maintainer. I have no idea. Don't know anything about it. Does 88 series have a specific unit or battalion which is currently active? All over units. Units all over that are transportation individuals. Again, same kind of thing. Is there any way to come in at a higher rank without prior education, like college, ROTC, etc.? Had a guy do it and was wondering how. You kind of can if you can get someone to join. So like if you refer a person to join the Army before you join, you can possibly come in at the pay grade of E2, which is still private, but you have a little bit more rank. And then that's everything else is pretty much education based. So that's really the only way without doing education that you can kind of get a little bit of rank is if you got someone else to join. So, all right, 4 minutes left in this live stream, and we got 53 likes. So tell you what, we'll extend it. We'll do a full-on hour since you guys are so awesome and hit that like button. So we'll hang out for a little bit longer. If you're down for that, hang out. I think I got to sneeze though. I think I'm okay. I think I'll be all right. I would probably re-enlist for Army Security Force. They don't have security forces in the Army. They have special forces. If you're talking about, I don't know, Army Security Force, there's MPs, because in the military police, in the Air Force, I think they call their military police security forces. So if that's what you're talking about, that's how it works that way. Lost 100 pounds so far, got about 20 more to join. How's that for motivation? That's awesome. Can't wait. My run times are not the best. Should I not stress much? I mean, they're gonna somewhat whip you into shape. I would just work on the ability to, all you gotta keep running a lot, doing a lot of cardio can definitely improve. But if you don't improve greatly before basic training, not too big of a deal. I mean, they're gonna run the hell out of you anyways, so you're probably gonna get better by just running the hell out of it in basic training. So that'll help. But still a great accomplishment for losing 100 pounds. So that's still awesome. Don't let it, you gotta ease into that stuff, sometimes. Just enlisted to 11 X-Ray, gonna be at Fort Benning for 6 months. Good luck to you. Hopefully all goes well. Did you get that sweet bonus? I had that cool bonus if you guys didn't see that video, but you also had to qualify for the bonus. You had to have been signing up when they were doing it. So that just kind of depends. I think they meant MP. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What is the age limit to join the Army? To the earliest age is 17. You just need parental consent, but you also have to turn 18 before you're going to graduate like your training and go to your first unit, because you can't be like going right when you're 17 and then go through training and then still be 17 when you go to your first duty station. So you basically have to be turning 18 before you're going to go to your first duty station. And if you're talking about max age, that's 35. 35 is the max age that you can join. Sometimes there's waivers for certain cases, but that just depends. The guy made a joke that the guy who put him in accidentally hit 2 instead of 1 when typing his rank. He just walked on, no referrals, no join. I don't know. I would imagine it'd be someone had to approve that for them to come in at a higher rank, so he could be bullshitting. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe it was some kind of error and just accidentally got promoted to a higher rank. I don't know. Not too sure on that. It's easy to get in the Army. The trick is getting out. Kind of. The biggest thing. What's up, Southern Sun? The biggest thing, I like the analogy of joining the Army is harder than going to college, because anybody can go to college, right? You have to maybe pass an SAT, maybe, or you just go to a community college and you don't really need any scores. That's just a placement. But not anybody can just go to the Army, because you can't go to college, or you can't go to the Army if you have, let's say, asthma. You can go to college if you have asthma. You can't go in the Army if you're paralyzed. You can go to college if you're paralyzed. You can't join the Army if you have a drug addiction. You can go to college if you have drug addiction. So anybody can go to college. Not anybody can join the Army, or the military for that matter. You should collaborate with other military or vet YouTuber. There's going to be something here soon. It might be not maybe next. I don't know. Maybe next week I might end up doing it. There was an intent. Here's the intel. All right. There was the intent to do a video. I won't say what the video is because I won't spoil what the video is. There was an intent to do a video with multiple other Army YouTubers. Sadly, I only really got the cooperation of 2. Those 2 are going to be working with me in this little video that I'm going to probably maybe next week, the week after, sometime soon maybe. But there was 3 other individuals that I contacted that were really hard to get in contact with. Eventually, when I did get in contact with them, they said they wanted to do it, but never did it. So we never got anywhere with it. It never went any further. But the other 2 cool individuals that did kind of follow through and work with me for a video coming up soon will be in that video. So I've been delaying it because I was waiting to see if those other individuals were going to pull it together and produce what we were going to do together. They didn't, so I'm just going to move forward with it with those other 2 individuals, and we'll put together a video together. So possibly next week. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying to get the cool emblem chaos. What emblem? Talking about the cool little rank thing next to your name? Well, so funny that you mentioned that. If you want that cool little rank icon next to your name that represents members to the channel, and the longer you're a member, you start ranking up. Everybody pretty much is E1 right now because nobody's been a member for longer than a month because this is a fairly new thing. But down below, if you're watching this on a desktop or certain other devices, you should see a join button. If you're watching this on like an iPhone or Android device, you might not see a join button, and you have to go down to the description and there's a link to be able to access it, and you can join the channel. There's 3 different tiers to get you different perks. One of those perks for all the tiers anyways, even the lowest tier, still gets you that little rank icon. It also gives you some special emojis that you can get inside the chat. Like I can, do I have the emojis? I would hope so. So all these cool little different little emojis that I'm gonna post right there in the chat that members get. I don't know if there's this little small little yellow one that you see there. It says hula. I might get rid of that one though because it's really hard to see, really hard to read. I have a question. I'm having struggle with the math section of the ASVAB. What can I do? A real soldier never accept defeat, so this math won't defeat me. Well, that's good attitude definitely to have. That's a good start. I would say doing a lot of practice ASVABs. Maybe consider maybe a tutor to try to help tutor you in math. Find different ways to kind of just get better at math. I mean, the best way to get better at something is by doing it. So doing a lot of practice math questions and getting better at it, maybe getting a tutor, all those kind of things I would recommend. But yeah, it's a good attitude to have, and don't give up. Off to bed, 11.5 day or work in the books. Have a good one, Southern Sun. Thanks for stopping in. I could be stationed in Korea with my MOS. What was it like in Korea? I think it's a good place to be stationed. Yeah, Korea was fun. It was cool to be able to see some of the local culture, exploring the area. You know, they do USO tours, so you have a possibility of maybe meeting cool celebrities if they come to your area. Korea is very like techy, and I like tech stuff, so they had a lot of cool tech stuff. Some of it wasn't very, very well built, but it was still kind of cool. The kind of motivation of that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun being in Korea. I enjoyed it. I stayed there for 2 years. Can I get a duty station close to home if spouse going through a depression? Depends sometimes. If it's something that's severely diagnosed that they have to go be in that area for the treatment, then sometimes you can get a hardship duty station, I think it's called, or something like that. Not a hardship duty station, what is it called? It's called something, it has a specific name, but sometimes they'll station you somewhere the nearest that they can, if that's possible. It just depends on a lot of scenarios. It just depends, but your spouse can come with you on to duty stations. So if you're going to be in station somewhere in the United States for a lot of select overseas locations, you can have your spouse with you. Can you get reg tanken for doing something a past command told you to do? My cousin had a previous command push steroid. I don't remember what that other word is supposed to be, but he took them New command came in and busted him from E4 to E2 or 3. Well, for one, if they were pushing for steroids, you should just turn it down. And if they tried to punish him for turning down steroids, then he could have fought them easily through JAG. But otherwise, once you've done that, then you have to have some way to prove that that they forced it upon him, because he can request a court-martial, trial by court-martial, and then try to fight it, or even go see JAG. But you would have had to have done stuff like that. So you'd need some way to somehow prove that they were pushing him to use steroids then. Thinking about joining the Coast Guard because of video. What do you think? It's up to you. You know, if that's something something someone's interested in doing because you want to, you know, work on the coast and all that kind of Coast Guard stuff, then go for it. Everybody's different. Is it okay if I only have a driving permit when I join? Most MOSs don't require a driver's license, so that's not a big deal. There are some MOSs, like an 88 Mike does, and then certain other MOSs, MPs do, and a few other ones. But if your MOS doesn't require a driver's license, then it doesn't matter. So, if someone got fat in the military, would they get put on a diet? Yeah, essentially they get put on what's called remedial PT. Remedial PT is for individuals who fail the PT test or are overweight, and it basically means you do extra physical fitness. So you do the normal physical fitness with your platoon or squad or whoever you're doing it with in the mornings, and then you will additionally, at the end of the day, do physical fitness for another hour. So you do an extra hour of physical fitness every day until you can hopefully cut the weight or be able to pass the PT test, whatever it is you're in remedial PT for. Do 11 X-rays and Marine 03XX work together a lot? No. I'm sure they could, but it's not an often thing you would do, mostly because there's not a lot of Army bases near Marine bases and vice versa, so probably not. My son is at Fort Seal basic training. He was supposed to graduate August 2nd. I received a call Monday saying that failed his PT test and not to come to graduation. What happens next? He'll be kind of like previously talking about with that person who was overweight kind of a thing. Probably be stuck doing some remedial, possibly getting recycled a week or two into a class that was, you know, behind him, and then have another opportunity to try to pass the PT test. He'll be doing some extra PT probably to hopefully get him into shape to be able to pass those standards, and then hopefully in maybe a couple weeks, hopefully get receive word that he's going to be graduating with the next class coming up. Hopefully for the best case, anyways. If he continues to fail, then it's up to the leadership as far as how many opportunities they want to give them before they decide that they're going to chapter him out and kick him out of the Army. But usually they give quite a few chances. So, cool new emojis. Yeah, see, Edward's using the emojis. Notice he didn't use the Hula one. I'm not a big fan. I think I'm going to get rid of the Hula one. The Hula one just doesn't look very good. What's happening in SCP? I was busy doing something else. Now I'm here. Well, awesome. Glad you are here. We still have about 20 minutes or so. Chris just read that the Army will be looking to bring back the 2-year contracts for infantry and artillery units. Thoughts? 2 years is really short, and it usually ends up being a little bit more than 2 years anyways, even though you still call it a 2-year. It usually is 2 years of actually doing your job. They don't count the OSIT or AIT and basic as part of that 2 years. They basically do the math of how long you're going to be in OSIT or how long you're going to be in basic and AIT, and then add that amount of time on top of 2 years, so it ends up being more than 2 years, but it ends up being 2 years of actually doing your job. But it just feels like sometimes that's a really short amount of time for an individual to be in the Army, but you know, it's a good stepping stone for somebody, then that's awesome. We got a new member to the channel, so what's happening to Chris Smith? Thanks for joining the channel. You're awesome. You get a bunch of chaos emojis, and then yay Chris Smith, and my face. Bam. Thank you, Chris, for joining the channel. Hopefully you enjoy the awesome perks that come along with it. Hey, Christopher Chaos, what is your input on the 19 Delta MOS? Scout, right? Let me just make sure that I believe that's Scout, right? Yeah, 19 Delta is a Scout. That's pretty cool. I've worked with Scouts a lot of times. They seem to think it's the best MOS ever. I mean, that's a lot of times you talk to tankers, 31 kilos or 19 kilos. They say the same thing, the best MOS ever. It's usually the same thing you hear from Scouts. Most of the people that I've known that were Scouts loved it. So possibly a good MOS. Not something I would enjoy, but if it's someone who wants to do recon, work with Bradley fighting vehicles, then it's probably a great MOS. How long is training for 13 Fox? I'd have to look it up. I don't know. Did I do an MOS Monday? If I did an MOS Monday on that MOS already, then check that out. Supplements in the U.S. Army, you can do supplements as long as they're not like any kind of banned, drugs in it or something like that. You can't do steroids, but a lot of people do supplements to work out and everything. Airborne PT versus air assault. I don't know which one would be harder. Couldn't tell you. If that's what you're asking. Cav Scout, yeah. Okay, welcome to Cav Scout. Going Washington Army National Guard, 11 Bravo. Good times. Good deal. Thank you, Chris. I think he was just a little short on the sit-ups. Yeah, I mean, he'll get opportunities. They don't just automatically, kick him out of the Army because they missed a certain amount of push-ups or sit-ups or whatever. But yeah, it should be. There was maybe a couple of individuals when I went through basic training that had that happen to them. They got pushed back a couple weeks. They had to do more PT to get into shape to be able to pass it, and then I allowed another opportunity later to be able to try to pass it. So hopefully they do a good PT and are able to pass the second time around and move on and get beyond basic training and AIT, get onto that, and then eventually get to a unit and not have to be doing all the crazy crap during the training portion of being in the Army because it's no fun. Any comments about 91 Sierra? We just talked about 91 Mike, didn't we? It's 91 Sierra. I have no idea what that MOS is. A Striker Systems Maintainer, yeah. No idea. No idea. I would have to do research on that. Typically, to get tuition assistance while you're on active duty, you have to usually re-enlist for that. So usually just because, like, let's say you're a mechanic, right? And you want to additionally do, training for vehicles to be a better mechanic, right? Well, the Army is not going to pay for tuition assistance for you to go do it, probably not even allow you the time to really go do it. You're going to have to, re-enlist and then possibly get a semester worth to be able to do something like that. So, yeah. Will you ever be on my channel for another live stream? I don't know. Maybe, Edward. I'm not sure. It could happen. Thanks again. So, you respond to that. Chris, can colorblind disqualify me from joining the Army dog handler? I really need to know this. I'm partially very small colorblind. I don't know. Sometimes you can Google that, and that one might tell you from other people's experience in that MOS if colorblindness can disqualify you. But off the top of my head, I don't know. How do bonuses work? Well, you have to qualify for it. Usually you have to have a GT score of like 100, 110 to even qualify from your ASVAB results to qualify for it. If there's other qualifications along with that, then those go along with it. Most commonly, you will not receive that bonus until after you've graduated OSIT or AIT, whichever one you're doing, for everybody to ever get the bonus for, because they want to make sure that you're not going to fail and then receive this extra money that you have to pay back or whatever the case is. So you have to pass everything, and then you'll possibly receive it in the next month or two after graduating. Typically, if not, then you have to talk to your finance individuals and find out more details about what happened to the bonus. There are some times where they have a stipulation of the bonus being spread out to where you might receive some of it up front and then the rest of it maybe after a year, after 2 years. Sometimes they have different stipulations. Most bonuses, though, are paid pretty much all in one lump sum. It does still get taxed, so even though you might get a bonus of, let's say, that new infantry one of $40,000, you're not going to get $40,000 because it's going to get taxed still. So that still gets taxed. So you still have that to factor in as well. Hey Chris, do F-22 Raptors faster than sound? I don't know. Pretty sure they do. Maybe. I have no idea. Don't know anything. Do 09 Limas get attached to other units, or they have their own units and companies? No, you would be probably embedded with a unit. You probably have some kind of like headquarters platoon or something that you initially work with, and then from there, when you deploy with a unit, you're probably tasked out to different platoons to work with them and be embedded with those platoons, possibly. By the way, if you don't know 09 Lima, it's a interpreter. I know this is controversial, but in my view, the coolest armies on Earth are number 1, the British Army, 2, U.S. Army, and distant third, Irish Army. Well, that's fine. I don't have any preference on rankings. My dad is prior Navy and Desert Storm vet and OIF vet and current National Guard 88 Mike. Plus, with working with my recruiter, I've learned a lot. Well, that's awesome, Southern Son. Is joining Army SF hard? Yes, extremely hard. It's a selection process that a lot of people fail. It's not very easy to be Special Forces. Otherwise, it wouldn't be very special, would it? Hey, Christopher, I am a subscriber to your YouTube channel since 2 years ago. That's awesome. I've been watching your videos for quite a while, and they've oriented me with Army pretty well. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for watching the channel for such a long time and hanging around for all this time. I appreciate you very much. I'm applying to NROTC Marine option at the end of my school year. Any suggestions you'd give for me? No idea, because I don't know anything about it's the Navy version, right, of ROTC, of JROTC for like the high school type of thing, I think, or is that the college for Navy, or whatever? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. How do you get a new copy of DD-214? Mine got ruined in a natural disaster. You can do that Freedom of Information Act type of thing, where you can submit it through there. You look it up through there. I don't know what specific website, but if you probably Google the Freedom of Information Act and try to request it through there. If you had a CAT card, you can go through eBenefits. Sometimes I think eBenefits has copies of that. The VA might. I don't know if the VA would. No, they probably wouldn't. Probably the best one though would probably be the Freedom of Information Act, or depending on how long ago, you might be able to go back to the out processing place and try to see if if that's easy to get to see if you can get another copy, because they might have access to the records. As a Storm vet also, your dad also be amount to retire? Oh, I guess you're responding to someone. I'm gonna get off here, Chris. Very tired right now. Rock on. Well, thanks, SCP. Thanks for coming to hang out. Have you heard anything about storming Area 51? Yeah, we were just talking about that at the very beginning of the live stream. It's pretty dumb. I think it'd be a very bad idea. A lot of people would get possibly killed if they tried doing something crazy like that. Do you have to get married in order for your family to get the benefits? Yes. You don't. If you just have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, they don't get benefits. You have to be a spouse. You have to be married legally and prove it with a marriage certificate to be able to get any kind of benefits. Now, if you, let's say you had a significant other, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever situation the person was in, but had a child together, the child could still potentially get some benefits even if you're not married, but the other individual wouldn't. I was also up to join State Guard, however, they just got rid of tuition assistance, $7,500 a year to $0, free for community college though. I don't want to pay $2,500 a year in uniforms and transit. Yeah, it's no fun. Well, I mean, if you're doing National Guard, I don't know if they pay for your travel, but uniforms usually you have a clothing allowance. You get paid for a clothing allowance. Can you play team sports in the Army? Yeah, they have different opportunities. There's actual sports program, and eventually I want to do a video on it. I can't remember what the program's called. I forget what it's called, but it's actually here on Fort Carson, where I'm at in Colorado. And they have opportunities where people can do like Olympic-style events. You play football if you want to go to college. If you go to ROTC, the people that play college football for the Army, those are West Point's cadets. So not ROTC, but West Point. You have to go West Point for that. So that's a little bit tougher. But yeah, there's different opportunities to play sports. And then there's just fun ones too, like you have an activity day or something like that in the Army, where your unit has some kind of activities going on for some kind of stuff, and you'll have, you know, basketball teams and baseball teams or softball teams or whatever. Chris, how does the Army pick or select soldiers to become drill sergeants? How long is their training? Usually E5 or E6. They usually prefer E6, but if they're desperate enough, they'll choose E5s to do it. If they really need drill sergeants, a lot of times they'll, you know, do that. And then I don't know what the selection process is of how they decide. Usually when you get to around E5, E6, there's always like a 50, I don't know if it's a 50% chance, but there's always a high chance that those individuals, if they're, you know, have X amount of time left on their contract, or just recently re-enlisted or something like that, maybe without stabilization or a lot of other things, they could possibly come up in orders to either become a recruiter or a drill sergeant. But I don't know the actual full-on details, and I don't remember. I want to say drill sergeant school is it's like 5 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't remember how many weeks it is for drill sergeant school though. I was a Honduras vet. Well, that's awesome, Stephen Edwards. Feeling the struggle of wanting to work in an MOS such as 25 Bravo, but don't want to sit in an office or a building all day. Yeah, I mean, that kind of is the tough part. You can volunteer for other things, possibly, but that just depends. What would happen if a chief warrant officer 5 told a sergeant major what to do? They're probably gonna get a yelling match. Usually, you know, people always make references like, say, like a warrant officer telling a sergeant major what to do, a lieutenant telling a sergeant major what to do. Technically, they outrank each other, you know, the other person, right? But people in the military have more common sense to be like, hey, I outrank you, sergeant major, so I'm going to tell you what to do. No, they're not going to do that, right? So it's probably not going to happen. Even though, you know, people always ask me that. What if a lieutenant tries to tell a sergeant major what to do? That lieutenant's smart enough to know that he can't or she can't. Even though they outrank them, their authority, the sergeant major's authority, is much higher than that butter bar lieutenant or whatever. So this is just not going to be a situation that's going to happen. Love your videos. Your channel is awesome. Well, thanks, Chris Smith. And again, thank you for joining and becoming an awesome member. Gotta go now, Chris. Going to pick up my little girl from work. You take it easy. Well, thanks, Joe. You take it easy as well, and have a great evening. Will they smoke me in basic training for it being my birthday? I leave August 12th for Fort Leonard Wood, and birthday is in September. Possibly, just out of fun out of it, you know. I mean, they I don't remember. I think I remember. They're not really gonna like pay attention to whose birthday is when, but if they somehow find out because they heard you talking about it, or heard someone else talking about it, or something else, then they might do something. I think there was a guy when I was in basic training where they found out it was like his, let's say, 23rd birthday, so they made him do 23 something, maybe 23 push-ups, 23 whatever, and you know, something like that could happen. But you know, yeah, I mean, but hell, they could smoke you for anything. They could smoke you because you blinked. So I wouldn't, you know, be worried that they might smoke you because it's your birthday. They're going to find anything they can possibly find to smoke you, because that's what they're supposed to do in basic training, is see how you handle stress, get you into shape, and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't worry about it. Are you able to shop at the PX as a retired veteran? You are. You can go to the PX if you have a veteran ID, or not a veteran ID, but if you have a retired ID card. A lot of times, actually, no, it is, I think, what is it, 2 years or 1 year? I think it's 1 year after you get out of the Army. Even if you don't retire, let's say you only did 4 years, got out of the Army, you still have PX privileges for, I think, 1 year after you got out of the Army. And then for after that, if you're someone who didn't retire, veterans are allowed to shop at the PX online only, though. So veterans can shop online at the AFES website and order stuff and have it shipped to their house if they want to. But they can't shop in the actual PX on base. Can you have 2 MOSs? No, sort of, kind of, not really. You can have a primary and a secondary MOS, but usually they have to go together. I talked about this in the last, actually, live stream too. Someone asked something similar. So like, you know, like a fueler can sometimes have a secondary MOS of an 88 mic because they go together, of driving trucks and operating fuel trucks and everything like that. But you couldn't be like an 11 Bravo and then have a secondary MOS of being a cook or something like that, because they don't go together. So usually your secondary MOS, if authorized to be able to do so, has to kind of somehow go with your primary MOS usually. Well, I stayed long enough to answer some questions, but I'm off Thanks, Southern Sun. Thanks for coming hang out. Chris, we only got about 5 more minutes anyways, so. Chris, I was wondering if soldiers in the Army are allowed to put their hands in their pockets. No. Did you not watch my my video on things you're not allowed to do? That's actually a fairly popular video on the channel. It's one of the no-nos of what you can't do. You can put your hands in your pockets to retrieve items, but that's it. That's the only time you're allowed to have your hands in your pockets. Otherwise, if your hands are cold, well, you better wear gloves, authorized gloves, or tuck your hands under your armpits, something. But if you're just bored, you can't be sticking your hands in your pockets. It's part of a Army regulation, part of a uniform policy. It says you're not allowed to have your hands in your pockets except for momentarily to retrieve items. The drill sergeants are choose type of people to smoke you, or those type of people to smoke you for waking up 10 minutes early than everyone else. Yeah, they're gonna smoke you for anything they possibly can, because that's what they're supposed to do during basic training. So it is definitely going to happen. ThatChrisChaos, I'll have to look at that video then. Agree. There's a lot of great videos. Also, I have like a playlist. I talked about it during the live stream too. If you go to the channel, I think it's like go down just slightly a little ways on the channel, and there's a specific playlist that I created recently that says learn these before you join the Army. Those are great videos. If you haven't seen them, you can browse through them, see which ones you have seen, which ones you haven't seen. These are videos that I selected that I thought would probably be great knowledge for someone to know before joining the Army. There's probably like 30 something videos. So, if you get a chance, check out that playlist, see if there's anything in there that maybe you haven't seen yet, something you don't already know. If you already know it, maybe you'll learn something extra that you didn't, part of it that you didn't know. So I would definitely check that out, and if you get a chance. Could a 31 Bravo be a primary MOS and 11 Bravo be a secondary MOS? I don't think 11 Bravos are even authorized to have secondary MOSs. 31 Bravo, is that an MP? Let me check, just double check. 31 Bravo MOS. Military police, no. You're probably not going to be able to have that because even though it's kind of similar, they have different tasks, and so I don't believe that would really work, because you can't part of the time be a police officer and then part of the time being a grunt. I don't think that would work. I don't think they would allow you to do that. Do you ever work with 25 Novembers? That's my MOS and haven't heard much about it. I'm excited though. 25 November. I don't even know what a 25 November is, so we're going to search for this one too. Let's see. 25 November is network systems operator and maintainer. I have no idea. Nope. Never worked with anything like that. I'll be shipping out in 3 weeks. My MOS. All you guys with these. There you go. At least you told me what the MOS was, so I'm gonna look it up. My MOS is 92 Romeo parachute rigger. What do you think about this MOS? Probably great. We have a moderator that's a lot of times in a lot of these live streams, Jay the Vorn, that I believe that was his MOS. And I've had people who have worked with those individuals who have been in airborne units, who you have to pack the parachute, and randomly they'll select you to just grab one of the chutes that you packed and like hand it to you and be like, hey, you're jumping with it. So you want to make sure that every parachute you pack is possibly a pack that you might have to jump out with, so you want to pack it the best that you possibly can every time, because you might be jumping out with that thing. ThatChrisChaos, I might just have to watch the playlist tomorrow. I'll see you later. Got to hit the hey. Thanks for your service, by the way. Well, thank you. I definitely recommend that playlist. Chris, who gets selected for the Golden Knights? How long is their training? I have no idea. Is that the thing with the helicopters? I'm not even too sure. I don't know. 4 versus 6 year contract, what do you think? If it's, I don't know, it just depends on how long you want to be in the military, really. I guess it's personal preference. I don't feel like one's better than the other, one's worse than the other. I don't know. All right, we're at 1 hour. So you guys are awesome. We're going to go ahead and cut off this live stream. If possible, I might be back on Thursday. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll do 30 minutes, and then maybe if I have time for the option for it to extend to an hour, maybe we'll make that happen. You guys are awesome. If you didn't already like the live stream, make sure you like it. If you're interested in getting cool little emojis and extra perks and everything, maybe look into the join button and see if any of those perks interest you. If we're getting a little extra out of the channel, then that's cool. But for the most part, thanks for hanging out. You guys rock. I got some videos to work on for you guys, so I got to get all that done. But we'll see you guys next time. So thanks for hanging out. See you guys later.